I've been thinking about how much happiness I derive and I get from objects. Because I was telling Sean before, like we started up before you got here, Dylan, that my friends and I are gonna have a drafting night, a Magic the Gathering drafting night. Which for anybody that doesn't know, it's pretty much just like you pick cards from pack to build a deck, and then you play against each other. And it's just like in a night-long event where you just have drinks and play trading cards against each other. And I think if anybody's ever asked me, I've always answered the question of like where I get my happiness from is from experiences. But when experiences are like directly tied to objects, then it's kind of I don't know.
Double whammy.
Yeah. So I guess my question to you guys is like, how much do you guys rely on objects throughout the day for your happiness as opposed to like events that happen or, going out to the park versus watching a movie, that kind of a thing. Well, I guess watching a movie is an experience. But, like Sean has his sculptures, like getting new sculptures versus going out and going on a walk, Where do you guys get your happiness from in that way?
First off, I just have to comment the fact that you try to talk about me being a weeb and you are playing Magic the Gathering, bro.
Listen,
you could never in your life call me a nerd.
Very different. Very fucking
you
different.
Could never call me a nerd when you're playing Magic the Gathering.
You are a nerd. They're not mutually exclusive, bro.
Yes,
we can both be nerds.
But you try to call me a nerd like you're not a nerd and you're playing Magic the Gathering.
I'm for sure a nerd. I bet Dylan's a nerd too, bro. Absolutely.
Listen, man, Power Rangers are about to celebrate their 30th anniversary. I know you guys saw those clips pop up of the original Rangers back for the special. Come on now.
I did, bro. Absolutely. I think after the last talk we had, I think we all can accept that we're nerds at this point. I think we talked for a full episode about fucking superheroes and like 2000s music, like Akon, which I guess isn't really that nerdy, but go ahead, Sean. So how do you feel about like when you're buying a new sculpture? Does that directly give you happiness, or does it like remind you of shows and experiences? Yeah.
I think it's more directly. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's like the nostalgia thing is more so in like, I guess, smaller items. Because it's like for nostalgia, I would be buying more like Dragon Ball related stuff just because, that's what I was into as a kid. I used to get like cards. And I think that's why I probably buy the cards now, because that was the feeling I get, because my mom used to have to take me to a specific store like 20 minutes away to buy these trading cards. And that's like my 5th grade. I just had a binder full of them. And that was like my jam, bro. But I think now when it comes to the statues, it's just more so of I just appreciate it as like art, I guess. It's like the more I got into the art and the more I dive deeper into it, I just started getting more into it. Like I always kind of wanted to, but I just never pulled the trigger. And then it was just kind of like, it's like a Pringle, bro. Once you pop, the fun don't stop. So I keep going.
Wait, so it's not so like the sculptures you don't like buying them because they remind you of the shows as much as you like buying them because you think that they're like cool pieces of art, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit of
real quick, Sean, is there anything behind you that you don't have a direct correlation to the show or the source?
No.
Like, let's just say you didn't watch Digimon. You know what I mean? I don't know if you did or didn't, but if you didn't watch it, would you not buy an Agumon statue or something,
So to answer that, right? So One Piece, right? So what happened was I never seen One Piece.
You see, what had happened was
like, so it's kind of like, that's what I'm saying. It's probably like a little bit books. I've never seen One Piece, but when I got into buying the statue, for some reason, I was always drawn to those statues. I've never seen the show. I knew a couple of the characters, but I don't know if it was like the art style or the colors or how they were sculpted. It drawn me into it. So I started watching One Piece because I started finding their statues. I was gravitating more to it. So I was like, well, maybe there's a reason for that. So that's when I started watching it. And when I started watching it, I started realizing I actually like it. So then that's when I started buying them. So it was like, it's a little bit of both, I guess, if that makes sense.
I think that also, I'm not speaking from experience, but One Piece is also probably, so it's commonly grouped with some of the other things that you are heavily interested in. Whereas if you took, I'm trying to think of something that is nowhere near that you wouldn't necessarily just Game of Thrones. You know what I mean? If you saw Sculpture, that doesn't necessarily have a tie-in to some of the other animes that you really enjoy. So, I think that it being grouped together probably also has a play to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was thinking about buying like more X-Men stuff, but it's just like I just didn't want the stuff that I buy to be scattered around because I really want like a Heath Ledger Joker because I love Heath Ledger the Joker. But then it was just like I didn't just want one standalone Heath Ledger Joker with a bunch of anime. So it's kind of like
Sean,
what?
Let's hear your Joker ranking. Live action. Nicholson, Ledger, Phoenix, Leto. That's all the live actions we have, right?
Jared Leto will probably be last.
Is that? Do we have 4 live actions? Is that it?
With the Joker in it?
Yeah.
No, there's the one
Nicholson, right? I said Nicholson, Leto.
I forget old boy's
Ledger.
name. The ones from like the 50s or 60s.
Oh, that's Cesar Romero.
Yeah, him.
Yep. With the painted over mustache.
Yeah.
This is actually like genuinely impressive just listening to you guys talk.
Heath Ledger is hands down number 1.
Far and away better than Joaquin Phoenix.
Bro, I don't know, bro. It's just like
I agree
with
movies.
I like Joaquin Phoenix, man, but I just feel like just everything about Heath Ledger's Joker. I like that style of Joker. I just think the way he portrays him and the acting of him, bro.
There are also such different movies that they played in, though. It's so hard because like Joaquin Phoenix's acting was crazy, but like just as a Joker character, I think I have to agree that like I feel like Heath Ledger fully embodied and even more so what I would have wanted from that character.
This was funny. So I showed my wife the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. She cried at the end of it because it was relatable in a way that it was, well, not relatable, but almost like realistic and understood on a human level that this is somebody dealing with mental health issues. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, I mean, what a great movie. What a great movie.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I respect it, but it was just like the Heath Ledger's, like the mannerisms, the way he would like lick, like everything about it's kind of like one of those things where it's like people take on the role so much. It's like when I see that, I think of like Tropic Thunder. Right, like Robert Downey Jr.
Wait, can you elaborate?
It doesn't break character until like the movie with the DVD or something. Like he just completely embodies it.
Oh, it's like method acting. Oh,
yeah. Like I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Yeah, that's what I think of when I think of the Joker.
Man,
or Heath Ledger. So he's number 1, bro. I don't know. And then
probably but Leto had to redeem himself a little bit in that scene at the end of the Zack Snyder Justice League, right? In the dream scene, you weren't feeling that?
I guess, but I guess it's just like the overall aesthetic of him. He has a grill, bro.
The 7-Eleven homeless gangster.
Yeah, bro. That's what I think. Exactly.
No, but I can't lie. When the Suicide Squad trailer dropped, and there was a scene of Leto laying on the floor surrounded by the knives. Can you think of that scene? That visual?
I know.
When I saw that, I was like, holy smokes. This guy must be unhinged. You know what I mean? And like that scene ends up not even being that cool, but just that as a visual in the trailer. I think one of the first times you saw him, besides some of the still images, I was like, damn, I'm excited to see that portrayal. But
dude, it's also, I mean, I think that's another example of like that movie sucked. Like it almost, of course, like you can compare the actors because Jared Leto, everybody will have preference. It was such a very different Joker, but like the movie Blue, like you put that in. If somebody else is either writing that movie or it's just an entirely different movie and Jared Leto's with different cinematography, different story, it could have been awesome. So like I kind of feel bad for the guy because he could have slapped in a different movie.
Here's the thing too, with which regular general people probably don't know or shouldn't care, but it's almost hard to consider something like that a movie when you hear some of the stuff that happened, how that movie was just absolutely hacked by the studio. There's a lot of people that say release the Ayer cut, the director. And so it's like when a director isn't being able to portray his vision and it's hacked by people in suits, you know what I mean? Like then is it almost doesn't even count. Whereas Zack Snyder then got to do something with that Joker, and that to me was an upgrade. You know what I mean? Dude, we didn't get to see enough. That was 10 minutes or whatever. But
I'm sorry to interrupt, Dylan, but I actually, when you're saying that, I that's how I feel about my artwork too. I love your guys to see if you guys feel the same way, because I am terrified for the day to come that I get the opportunity to work with different brands, because I want to like think that if that happened where, it's things are being brought up that I either don't agree with or I don't like the direction of it, and I'm voicing that and saying, hey, maybe we should go like this, and they're like, that's a good idea, but we're actually thinking we're gonna go like this. When that starts to develop, like you want to be the person that can say like, I'm not doing this, I'm pulling the plug. But obviously that's always going to be easier said than done, so have you guys you guys have both worked with brands to a certain extent. Has that ever arisen, or if that were to come up, do you feel like you'd be strong enough to say like, I'm not doing this?
Sean, you want to go or me?
No, you go. I talked enough.
I think that I, as an artist, try to be somebody who's flexible. So I want to be able to pivot. You know what I mean? And I don't view myself and my art style as like, dude, if I don't get to do me 100%, you have to find someone else. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there's times where maybe some of the brand deals I've done or releases, it's like, okay, we need to change this or that, or how can we get a lower price point? Just things come up when you're working with brands. How can we do stuff faster or whatever? And I like to think that I can still find a way to still make stuff feel like Dylan, even if I have to pivot a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't think that I haven't done any deals where I felt I've sold my soul and I put out something that isn't even me and I don't want to have my name attached to it. You know what I mean? I haven't crossed that bridge, thankfully.
Based off what you just said, do you feel like there even is that bridge, or do you feel like pretty much no matter what the deal was, you have a general idea going into it saying like, hey, I'm going to be flexible and like, is there even that bridge for you, or you don't think that'll ever come up?
Yeah, no, I do think there is some stuff that could come up where I'd have to be like, okay, you know what, I just have to walk away, or this isn't for me, or if we can't make these changes, then this deal just can't happen. You know what I mean? If I don't feel like I'm going to put out a product that feels and looks like Dylan, then, and the thing is Dylan can look like a lot of different things is sort of what I'm saying as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that, I just haven't been presented that scenario where I feel like, okay, you know what? I'd be selling my soul to do this. It's not worth it.
So, if style isn't like such a limiting factor to you, what is? What could come up? Is it money? Is it the values of like the organization? Like if the organization has been in trouble, under fire, under certain things, like what would you cut it off at?
Yeah, I think a business deal, if it potentially came to a point where if I was trying to do a drop where, okay, I did something with the Brooklyn Nets like 4 to 5 years ago, if they just got to a certain price point to what they were trying to sell the product in the stadium that was just nowhere near feasible, but they thought, okay, lower price point, we could sell to more people, appeal to a more mass audience, then it might get to a point where I'm like, I just can't do it. When you're going to be signing up for a certain amount of work and being paid less, you might just be like, you know what, I have to have that power to say no. And then, of course, brands, values and things like that, if they don't align with yours, then, I think that's interesting that that's popped up a lot on YouTube with people doing paid sponsorships with companies. Like I'm sure
Exactly.
you guys have heard about some of the FTX stuff. And there was another one where you get to become I don't know the name of the company. It was something like General Titles or something like that. And you got to purchase for a small price point, like a piece of land and become a lord or something like
Oh,
that.
I remember that. Oh
And
my God.
and it turns out that something was up with that company, you know what I mean? So you have to make sure that, you know, your values align and things like that. And it's unfortunate because FTX was backed by some huge people where you thought, okay, if that person's name is attached, then I'm good to go. So tough sometimes.
Well, dude, I actually, funny enough, I'm watching a documentary on Bernie Madoff right now, and the whole FTX thing, where like very different situation, feels so similar because it's like, yeah, I mean, FTX was fully trusted. It was
Yeah.
like not even just FTX, but Sam Bankman-Fried was like that dude. He was like, he's given out so much money to charities. He seems to have like such a stable way of going about cryptocurrency. Like Tom Brady fucking put his money in FTX and endorsed FTX. And Bernie Madoff like got pretty much every European bank to invest in his Ponzi scheme. And so it's like, at a certain point, you become almost too big to fail until somebody like CoffeeZilla or, you know, in Bernie Madoff's situation, it was like one guy that was just relentlessly hounding the SEC to like look into his situation. So it's just kind of crazy. It's like, yeah, it almost feels inevitable that once it gets to that point that you're almost home free for a certain period of time. So it's cool. It's even cooler seeing like, you know, CoffeeZilla pop up and bring things like that to light, you know. I know Sean and I were talking about this too, dude, like talking about CoffeeZilla and talking about Logan Paul and like his scam that has been coming up and whatnot. But this is a fucking tangent on a tangent on a tangent. But wait, to bring it back though, because I do want to hear Sean talk about this a little bit more, is I wanted to ask, so about going back to your sculptures. So I was curious when I was thinking about like the objects versus experiences side of happiness. Do you feel like collecting these sculptures is kind of building like an environment for your work as well that allows you to like kind of continually have that experience?
Yeah, bro, you got to get the feng shui popping.
Is that at all why you do it? Like, is it literally, I just like how they look and I'm buying them? Or is there like,
I mean, I just think I like it all. Like, I just like having rooms or the house like look and feel like art itself, I guess. It makes me feel good.
You also got to figure for Sean's style too. Now his eyes are seeing these things thousands of times. You know what I mean? Even when he's not consciously thinking about it, his eyes are still seeing it over and over and over and over and over and over. So then when it comes to drawing a Kilo character, the brain's already been pre-trained to crank that out, you know? So
he knows. Like, bro, I don't even read manga. Bro, I don't even read. That shelf right here is just on it, bro. I don't even read. It's just there in case I want to look at something or I want to appreciate some art or if I want to study a little bit.
Yep.
Right. It's like I think the more I've gotten into it, I think I just have more of an appreciation for story writing and art in general, regardless of if it's on a shoe or not. It's just like now I'm understanding like the amount of time and skill you have to pull off a 3D sculpture like that size. And so it just makes me, I'm like, wow, that looks dope. I want it.
Environment, man, that'll really get you in the mood to get going, you know?
Yep. Your feng shui, buddy.
So it also is kind of interesting knowing you, Sean, too, because correct me if I'm wrong, but like I feel like that idea kind of perfectly ties into your personality as well, where it's like, yeah, I mean, not only would I rather get objects and like that make me happier and feel more creative in my own space, but I would also just in general not like going out and having a ton of new experiences all the time, like always going out to traveling and seeing new things and whatnot. I feel like that pretty ties into what you've told me about your personality as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, I'm always been a homebody. I'm extremely introverted. So I think, and then also now, I think once you have kids, it's just like your happiness with experiences change. It's like I said before about the whole, like, if there's drama and just my mindset, it's just, it's like when you have a kid, it's like, I don't know, it's like, it's weird, bro. It's like your thought process is different. Like when it just comes to enjoyment of things. So it's like most of my experiences just either come from my son's happiness or my wife's happiness. Like I don't really like, I'll be like, I'm one of those more so in the moment people. Oh, okay, this is fun. And after I'm not there, I'm like, okay, well, I stop thinking about it. Whereas when I know my son or my wife's happy, those are the memories that I think make me the happiest.
Mhm. That's
Aw, you Sherman soft mother.
Hey, bro. Hey, like, you can call it's different. Like, I don't
Yep,
know, bro. It's like when
for
you have
sure.
a child, bro, it changes
A
all of that.
million percent. It's like
So
just you always hear around Christmas how
yeah,
much better it is to give gifts and than to receive. And when
yeah,
you, especially as a parent, just when
yeah,
you get to see your kids' happiness, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Nothing compares to that.
yeah. And then maybe it's getting older too, bro. Like I'm about to be
Hmm.
35, so maybe my mindset's different. I think the older you get to, you just start having a different appreciation for life itself because you start seeing the people that you grew up with. Now people are slowly passing away. And then, your friends' parents pass away. So then you start thinking about your own parents because, now they're 50 to 60 or, maybe to 70. So it just makes you think about things a little bit differently.
I can see that for sure. I wonder. So I wonder if that's because of the type of people that you guys are too, though. Because I can also when you say it, the older you get, you think about things differently, and I think obviously that's gonna be true for everybody. But
Mm.
but thinking about things in a more positive light, I don't think comes so naturally because you'll
Um,
find like for everybody that is like, yeah, I value my kids more and more, and those experiences and making them happy as time goes on, you'll find somebody on the other side that's like locked. They've always been locked into materialistic things where their goal is to get a house out of get a job out of college and then get a house and then get the car that they want, and that never really stops. It's just like on to the next thing. And that's why I think it's really interesting talking to you guys and why I wanted to kind of pinpoint on the sculptures in particular, not because I ever pegged you as like that type of person, but because it's interesting to me how one person can derive almost no satisfaction from getting these like large purchases, and somebody else can derive tons of happiness and satisfaction because of what the objects they're buying actually do for them. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Yeah, bro. I mean, even like back when I started making the adjustment of getting it and my room was like plain, I just felt like my mood was just kind of like, man, like I spend so much time in here and it's just like boring and
Mm.
it's not like me. And so that's why I was just like, maybe if I start changing stuff around, it might help me, and that's why it's just like in each room that I spend most of my time in, work related, I have art and the things that I'm into in there because I just like the way it makes me feel when I'm in it.
Fuck yeah. Do
Like
you feel the same
I'm
way, Dylan?
surrounded by my craft essentially, regardless of it just being shoes.
That's dope. You feel the same, Dylan?
Yeah. So how'd you frame the question initially?
Yeah. So what the fuck was it? So
Experiences versus objects and stuff.
yeah. I mean, that's pretty much. I guess if I had to rephrase, I would say after talking about this, I'd say, um, do you derive more happiness from objects in your life or experiences?
Yeah, experiences. Like if you just think about your memories, they're going to be experiences. You know what I mean? Not necessarily. I mean, potentially the objects that you got or whatever, but there's also typically going to be like an experience attached to that. So, just for
Mm.
example, like when I was, us being in the sneaker space, when I was super hardcore into collecting, some of my favorite memories were, some of my memories about like the shoe is the experience of getting it. So whether it was camping out overnight and the camaraderie of camping out with my little brother and meeting other peoples that were crazy and wanted shoes and things like that. You know what I mean? Or just you think of memories of growing up with your friends, whatever. It's just experiences of hanging out and doing whatever. You know what I mean? Rather
Mhm.
than the objects that you had at the time. At least for me, you know?
Huh. So do you think now though, like, do you have any of those shoes and things that you'd spend time with people? Like trading cards is the perfect example for me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like trading cards trigger memories of like going out to the card shop with my grandpa, and he'd give me like $30 and he's like, buy whatever you want with
Yep.
this. And then
Yep.
we go fishing afterwards and we get fucking ice cream. And like that was
Yeah.
every summer for 2 weeks and then it was
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
You know, like all that comes back to like, I think that's the reason why I love playing any card games now. I don't even really care because just holding cards feels so fucking awesome.
Yep.
Is that kind of the same way for you, or you're like, I have these objects now and that's what it reminds me of?
Yeah. So, like, for example, like I think of when I was a kid, like Pokemon, for example. So I'm like 7, 8
Mm.
years old. The first movie's coming out. Like, as soon as I think of Pokemon, which is something still out today, the first thing I think about isn't an object I own. It's that every Tuesday night at Burger King, my dad would take me because you could go and trade the Burger King toys with other kids to try to collect them all. You could battle because you could sync up the Game Boys. You could trade cards. So rather than any object, any card, any game, all of which I loved, the first thing I think about is my dad taking me on Tuesday nights to Burger King. You know what I mean? Like that
Oh my
experience will live with me for the rest of my life, and that will be the first thing I think about with Pokemon. And as somebody who's still a fan of Power Rangers, rather than any of the little collectibles, anything, I think of the experience of being a kid in the 90s and those commercials that would come on in between when Pizza Hut had the talking piece of pizza with the olives for eyes and dumb little things like that. I think of those experiences of my dad filming me with a camcorder playing with Pokemon on a castle that I had and stuff. You know what I mean? So
fucking awesome.
at least for me, nostalgia and like enjoyment is so much more tied to um experiences, you know?
Oh, bro, I fucking love that so much, especially since like Pokemon now has had such a wild resurgence. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's huge in customs, it's
Mm-hmm.
huge in just like current culture everywhere for that matter. And it's just really fucking awesome because it makes me wonder like what other people's experiences are with those things. Like if there's anybody listening right now that has played Pokemon, like please leave comments, you know, about what memories pop up with that, because I'm the same fucking way. And it's not even just Pokemon cards. Like I think Pokemon's the most relevant now, what I think about the most, just because it's like people are doing concepts for it and it's
Yep.
constantly on mood boards and whatnot. But like I was big into hockey cards, so that's like anytime I see like Bobby Orr, Ken Dryden, like any of the original 6 Guy Lafleur, any old hockey cards, bro, I freak the fuck out. Like my synapses, my brain start popping. I go nuts.
Sean, you dropping a Color Me Fresh Pokemon pair soon or what?
You
Not
know,
a Pokemon fan?
do you like Pokemon?
I like, but see, I like Pokemon as a kid, but that's what I'm saying. Like for me, stuff is weird. Like when I see stuff, I don't instantly go back to the nostalgia. Like I can look at Pokemon and like, even though I have a lot of memories of Pokemon, it's never like, oh yeah, Pokemon memories. It's like that happen like every now and then. I don't like I rarely like look at things that I enjoyed as a kid that I may have now and just think of nostalgia. It's
Interesting.
weird. It's like it might be certain triggers, but
Yeah.
it'll come and go. Like it'll be like a random night where I'm just maybe sitting in a room chilling, then I'll just start thinking about old stuff. But it will never be like if I look at a Goku figure, I don't think about, you know, my childhood memories necessarily. I'll look at it more so as I like how this is sculpted or shaded, you know, as a piece of art. Like, bro, I don't know, I'm weird. Maybe my brain's like,
No, everybody's brain is different. Like with movies, for example, I think of like sometimes I can think of like what shoe I was working on when I first watched that movie or something like
Crazy.
that, or
So-
where I was at, what I was feeling, you know?
let me ask, and you guys, right? If you have a movie you like, can you like rewatch it all the time?
A million times over.
I can't.
There's like there's like there's like 3 movies I would do that with, but since the age of like
streaming and unlimited options.
Well, actually, I wasn't even going to go there. I mean, that's true, but I was going to say, like, since the literal age of like 14, maybe, then I stopped caring about rewatching movies. Like, even if it was a great movie, it seemed like a waste of time for me to rewatch it. So I'm kind of weird in that way, where I'm like between you guys, because Dylan can watch them all the time. Sean, you can't rewatch them at all. My life's been kind of like cut in half in that way, where I used to watch the same movies every single time. I wouldn't change movies. There was like 3 I loved and I watched them all the time. Now I don't rewatch movies, and I don't know when I will again, you know.
So I've done this like 5 times probably. If you ever have an intense deadline that you think you'll be able to get to, but it's still going to be intense, 2.5 hours before the deadline, throw on The Dark Knight in the background. And that last 30 minutes with that Hans Zimmer score is so tense and just building that you're like, oh, how are we going to finish this last 30? I've done that so many times when I've had like a shipping deadline and I need to get to UPS or FedEx at 6:30 for an overnight delivery. It's at like 4:00. Let's put on The Dark Knight, and dude, we're going on a ride.
That's fucking, I love that, bro. Yeah. Just turn your life into an adventure movie.
Yeah. Oh, dude, do it. Sean, I asked about the Pokemon because, as Zach mentioned, like we've started to see, more Pokemon customs pop up, but more so in the realm of colorways and simplistic themes. So I'm interested to see, if we'll get a wave of the large, character driven, type themes that we see as well.
Maybe. I don't know.
I feel you. You're somebody who has to be into what you're doing.
I mean, it's not really even that. It's like a lot of the shoes there's some shoes that I did that I've never really watched. Like I like Demon Slayer is cool, but I still like, I don't know, man. I think maybe now it's like even just my mindset when it comes to stuff. It's like I'll do anime stuff still, but I think part of me feels like I want to be more creative with doing more original stuff too.
Yeah.
I see.
I don't know if it's a shift. I don't mind doing Pokemon, but like if I'm getting a commission for it, but as far as me like keeping it, it's just saying.
Yeah, well, and I think a part
if we ain't talking paper, we ain't talking.
Pretty much.
Dude, 600 or sit down. That's my motto,
Yeah, I know, bro. You don't get out of bed for anything.
I was gonna say real fast though, Sean. I feel like that also like perfectly aligns with you, because like you've never really been one to like hop on trends. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is just a shot in the dark. So definitely tell me if I'm wrong. But like it, almost like the resurgence of Pokemon is a deterrent in a way, like I see it all the time. Like, why would I do that?
Yeah. I mean, there's that too. Yeah. It's like everybody's doing it. I don't want to do it because then it's just like, oh, I'm doing it too. Yay. I'm cool. I'll wait. If I did it, I'd wait till it dies down. Ain't nobody doing it. Then I'll do it.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, dude. So I didn't realize this, but I actually have been thinking about doing a long-term project. Remember the YouTube videos style and like series I was telling you about before that I wanted to try? One of the objects I wanted to do it on was trading cards. So I started, and I actually am still in the middle of this, is I was diving into like the history of it and whatnot. And it's kind of wild because like modern day trading cards really only are popular because of the like transition from simple graphics with like one color or black and white on business cards to like color. So the first
holographic?
No, not holographic. Like I think it was called a chromiolithograph, where it was just a device. It was just like a simple printer, but it allowed you to print multiple colors as opposed to just one. And it was a way of like setting yourself apart in advertising a long time ago, like 100 years ago. And so it's kind of wild because that's why people started collecting them, was there was like very few people that could make them. So, and they'd make them in sets. So people would like go to these trade fairs and trade advertisement cards. And it's just kind of cool because like they got really burnt out for a while, but that's the entire reason why. Why? What are you fucking laughing at?
No, like, because this whole talk about like memories and nostalgia, like you talking about that, it makes me think about like Vegas, how when you walk down the strip and you have all the guys heading out the stripper trading cards.
Yep. Yep.
And I would just grab it, and me and my friends would be trading, bro. That's it. Because you talking about trading stripper trading cards, bro.
Oh man, Vegas really is another world.
Wait, you say stripper trading cards? Is that what you said?
Yeah, dude. Like they have cards, bro, like with the strippers on it, for all these different strip clubs, and they have like the bio on the back, and then maybe some contact information, and they just hand them out on the strip.
No,
some of them,
bro. I was like 12 or 13, just walking, just grabbing. Hey man, thank you. And my other friend's name is Chris. Hey, thank you. We be in the hotel rooms. Like, hey man, I got cinnamon right here, bro. What you got for Sophia, man? I'll give you 2 of these.
Cinnamon.
Some of them are more than stripper cards as well.
Exactly.
You know,
some will be completely nude. You be sitting there, I'll be like, yeah, man. What's up, bro?
Oh, bro, where were your parents when you were 12 years old getting nudes from random strippers on the street?
I mean, bro, they were there. I mean, they be walking, but it's the strip, bro. They can't watch you all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, they don't care because it's their job to hand out the cards for the strippers they work for or the strip club.
Do you remember any of the cards? Like actually what they look like?
Yeah.
What was your favorite stripper card?
I've run into several.
Let's see. What were they? What were they?
What do you mean? I mean, you know, I don't remember the names. I mean, but I can't. You want me to describe it, bro?
Yeah, just describe it like I if I'm describing my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card, I'd say, oh, it's the Stardust Spark Dragon. It's really colorful. It's got a lot of attack, and it's a solid competitive card. Now you go.
Bro, they're naked on a card, bro. I'm not looking at none of that, bro. You 13 looking at nip nips.
We got younger listeners. We got to move on.
Okay, that's fair. Oh my goodness gracious, bro. But so Dylan, do you feel like you're it's kind of the same way in the materialistic sense, where like you want to surround yourself with all things that inspire you, or are they more like trading cards, like memories, or both?
Yeah, I absolutely believe that your environment and surrounding yourself with stuff is going to be helpful and conducive to you creating cool stuff. But yeah, it's kind of just the overall vibe and feng shui, and whether you're going to be blasting music or getting in your comfort zone, watching a movie, listening to a podcast, ambient noises, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
That's
feel
me.
you.
Yeah,
I
don't got as cool of a collection as Sean back there.
Yeah, that shit's fire, bro. You should do like a walkthrough of them one of these days, like a reel of just going through the different ones. I was
gonna do an updated like studio room tour because both rooms, this one and that one's kind of grown a lot. So
MTV crib style.
Yeah,
that'd
be fucking cool. And then Sean, do you have a new Kilo shoe coming out soon?
Yeah, the new video drops tomorrow, and then I'll probably post the actual shoe on Instagram on Saturday.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, God,
yeah, buddy.
Damn.
Zach, how about you? You the shoe the post that you had the other day, is that a a shoe design that you would like to bring into the physical world, or is that something that lives just in the digital space? Tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, so to be honest, like I designed it for dual purposes. Like it takes so much capital to bring it into the physical space, especially in the way that I want it to.
Why?
What's up?
Why?
Well, because I'm always just super picky. It'd be really hard for me to see it as like a product as opposed to an art piece right now, which I think is like a flaw in me, at least when it comes to shoes. Because as time goes on, like I think that what Sean does is art on shoes, and I think that what I do as well is art on shoes. But I don't know why, but as time goes on, I see the value of like design as well as art. So I guess I don't know exactly how to say it, but pretty much, you know, I was watching a Tinker Hatfield documentary, and he was talking about how, you know, design really is not, there's not as much freedom as people think with it. You know, it's like almost like marketing in a way, where like these companies know what is pleasing, and they know what designs work and what curves work, and you know what colorways and whatnot. And when you bring, there's a reason when you bring like artists on, it's very rare unless it's like a kind of like a fashion house to do something that is so out of the blue. It's normally just like different colorways and different textures, because that's design in a lot of ways. You change like small bits of things to add your mark to it, as opposed to fucking doing something crazy drastic.
You like that dude with the Adidas that turned into like the donkey?
Yeah, I actually do. I think I was sick. Do you like it?
I mean,
That's a no.
it wasn't my thing, but I respected him for it.
I guess kind of what I'm getting at is I'm slowly like distinguishing between design and art, and finding in what mediums I like doing both in, and finding a way to like correlate the story between the two. So right now with the shoe that I released, when I released it, it was really supposed to be like this is a step up model. It's an original design. I'm not using the Air Force One anymore. This is going to be, all of my 3D renders are done with this. All of my AR is done with this. The whole digital side is this now. And I'm not tied to any company. I totally designed this. And then when I posted it, it got so much love, like so much more love than I ever would have expected. And almost every person who liked it was like, when is this dropping? Like, can please tell me that this is going to be a physical shoe.
So tell the people when it's dropping.
Well, I don't, bro. I need to figure out how the fuck I'm gonna do it. I don't know. I wasn't planning on that, you know. So I don't know. I need to. I actually, Bull Ayers reached out to me afterwards, and he was like, you know, if you need some help with manufacturing and whatnot, then let me know. And I was like, thank you, because I genuinely don't know where the fuck to start with any of this. So.
The design studio that Mosh uses isn't too far from you. They're in Philly.
Oh, no way.
How far is Philly from you?
It's like 4 hours.
Okay, not that close, but not that far.
It's drivable for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, I think Sean's like 4 hours from me.
I'm in North Carolina, bro. What you smoking?
Oh, what the fuck? Wait, didn't you live in Maryland at one point?
No.
This is very awkward.
Very oh man.
Listen, I really thought you lived in Maryland. In fact, I was telling one of my friends that I wanted to come drive to see you one of these weekends because I thought you were in Baltimore. And I was like, I'll go visit my cousin while I'm there.
Baltimore, no.
I would have asked you for your address and had to bail out.
Yeah, no. Yeah, bro, you would have been struggling. Hey man, where you at? I'm in Maryland.
Oh boy, wow. That was really awkward. But yeah, I want to do that, Dylan. I really fucking do. I just one of the big things is capital for sure. I was thinking about, because of the like response to it, I'm thinking about doing a Kickstarter and doing a video for that. But yeah, I don't really know the next step. I really wasn't expecting the kind of reaction that I got.
They were dope. Definitely reminded me of some poppin' silhouettes nowadays. Some of the New Balances, you know.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with all the numbers of New Balances. Forgive me.
I don't blame you, bro.
Was it
the Jordans though?
Was it a New Balance also?
It was. I guess it was, the paneling was similar to like a 550 paneling.
550. That's the one I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm. The one that's like the Air Force One replacement in a lot of people's eyes. Everything though, I don't like how blocky any of the like mainstay sneakers are. I like what's up?
So what I liked about yours is it was a cross between that 550 and then it definitely reminded me of a higher end designer one, like an Alexander McQueen.
Really?
You know what I mean? Where you had a chunkier you had a chunkier outsole and
Yeah.
almost like some of the Gucci's, like I think they're called the Ritones, have just this really blocky, heavy outsole and then like a big wide back tab. I know the McQueens have that and yours had that. So it was a nice cross.
Thank you.
Feels designery, feels like anybody could rock it though, you know what I mean? And I think that's a tough balance to strike. So
Well, thank you, bro. I really appreciate that. It was a long design process. I would love your guys' feedback even more so because, like, assuming that I will be making this shoe in the future, I'm kind of two minds of, do I go the Mosh route and go very high quality and try to sell high volume, but with a much lower audience right now, or maybe go like kind of like the Bape route. Not that Bape isn't high quality, but I guess more. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say? Like a lower price point that a lot of people can get, or like a higher, more premium price point, which I think kind of fits me better, but also is much less accessible for people.
I'll try both. Or maybe have like a variant. You have like a plain one and then more that has more of the bald boy design to it for the premium.
You guys think that can work without a big audience?
Yeah.
Really?
Because for one, your premium price point still isn't going to be the cost of a custom shoe. So that alone, right? Oh, 250, 300. They're going to be people, oh, that's still expensive, but most people are more willing to spend 200 to 300 as opposed to 800 to 1,000.
Good point. Good point.
But I guess the difference to me is, like, with a custom shoe, you have the shoe built into the price, so you can just take a commission. Like if you're manufacturing a shoe, I can get a sample, but even a sample would probably cost me, if it's like of premium quality and they have to do the patterns for the shoe, they have to go the whole 9 yards. I would be surprised if it was under 2K to get a sample for the shoe.
And then do pre-orders. So you get your sample. One thing I think you should do is, obviously you need to customize one pair of your own shoes. So add the ball boy touch to the ball boy silhouette. But then if you just have like a pre-order, you can pretty much get an idea of how many people are interested. About, okay, the shoes, the money that you get from the pre-order can help fund the cost of making the shoes. And hey, man, they should be ready in however long it takes, 3 to 6 months.
You know what oh my God, I didn't even think about this. You know what could be cooler than that, honestly, is maybe I'll contact a decon recon artist and see if they'd be willing to do a one-of-one for me.
Yeah, but that's still going to probably be pricey.
It's probably gonna be the same price. I wouldn't expect.
But then on top
cheaper.
of that too, if you have a custom outsole, that's going to cost more.
Oh fuck yeah, never mind. See, this is what I mean though, because I could do a pre-order as well, but there's gonna be a minimum, and depending on where I guess if it's out of Philly, it's not that big of a deal. But if I had a supplier that wasn't in the US or across the country, like shipping's could be hella expensive too. So you know what I mean? Like this is why I guess I asked the question in a genuine way of, can you do this without a big audience? Because I know even Mosh had a really hard time getting the margins right on making this profitable. So it feels like almost impossible for me unless I'm selling like 5 of them and find some way to make a really high quality product at a decent price, which I don't even know if that exists, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't know. You said Mosh had a hard time getting the margins right. How many does he usually sell at a drop? Do you guys know?
No.
Pretty good. Definitely a few hundred from what I've seen.
Oh yeah, I was talking about is there like a cap though? They're only limited to like 500 pair type deal.
He hasn't done anything like that yet. I don't believe, where it's limited to 100 or 500 or whatever.
Yeah.
So that pre-order route works, extremely nice for him, because he might have some shoes that maybe like I don't know, but I imagine a ton of people probably wanted that Freddy Krueger shoe. Whereas, you know what I mean, he might have had another shoe that a quarter of the people that wanted that wanted, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know. We'll play it by year because I've always wanted to do something like that. I just didn't see it as possible. But honestly, maybe the way this year is already lining up, I feel like I'm going to be in a much better spot at the end of it to do something like this. And also, maybe that's just the leap of faith I got to take, where it's just like maybe that's the time to get alone and put it all into it. You know what I mean?
Sean, do you have interest in designing your own shoe?
I do, but it was kind of like the same thing, but it's more so coming up with the design itself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what route I'd want to go.
Have you spent time designing your own shoe?
Nah. I used to design. It's funny. I used to design shoes a lot when I was a kid. Just sit down and draw silhouettes. But I would do more so. I would do it more so now to help with like passive income. But then it's like, I don't know. It's kind of like that give or take, like the time that I have to sacrifice to actually do that. And then I don't want to just be a money grab on top of that. So it's just a lot to kind of like process. Right. Because like when I'm thinking about that, and then it's like, oh, well, man, are you going to write a story or a comic book for Kilo? And I'm like, okay. Then there's that. So it's like being pulled in like multiple different directions. So I don't know which way to go, I guess.
I got a weird question to end with that'll take us off the rails.
Let's fucking do it, baby.
Buckle up, boys. Here we go.
Jesus.
So the year already started, all right? So let's say 2024. So you got time to plan. Sean, you first. Color Me Fresh LLC out of North Carolina does 1 million in revenue. Break down how you made $1 million in an ideal year.
Ooh. God damn.
Make me think.
Tell me the path of how you make $1 million in 2024.
You said in 22 or by 2024?
In 2024. So you got time to plan.
I don't know, man. That's the part I'm trying to figure out.
You got 11 and a half months. Walk me through what it would look like in an ideal world.
I can say I've been selling my original Kilo shoes for astronomical amounts of money. They
How
were
much?
auctioned off for, I don't know, $100,000. Or, YouTube content.
Where are those selling for 100,000?
I don't know, some auction, bro.
How do you get in that auction? How do you get in that auction?
Word of mouth. It ain't about what you know about who you know.
What auction house is selling shoes for 100,000?
Whatever wants to sell other artwork for 100,000.
Name them.
I don't know.
I don't know them either.
Christie's.
So how are we going to sell them?
What? Zach, what is one?
Christie's.
Christie's.
Sotheby's.
Those two. One 150, the other one 200.
That's still not $1 million.
I know, bro. I'm trying to get to the other 650. YouTube, bro. That's the only other option.
That's not the only other option.
It is.
No, it's not.
What other option do I have?
So you're gonna make
NFTs. You can make sculptures. You can you can sell courses. You can. There's a million options.
$1 million selling some courses.
Yes. Why not?
NFTs, bro.
Dude, I'm telling you, you're limiting yourself, dog. You can't. There's that like you can't. It's crazy.
So Sean, how are you going to make 650,000 from YouTube?
I wouldn't say ad revenue. Brand deals. And then selling more work because people see me at my YouTube channel. And see, this question now has got me thinking again. So now it's back to the drawing board. So thank you, Dylan.
Zach?
This is a. Can I?
How does Bald Boy Design LLC out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? The six. What's your zip code? I don't know your.
Am I getting doxxed right now?
I don't know the zip code.
I'm getting doxxed one of my best friends.
Tell me how Bald Boy Design break down the $1 million you make in 2024.
Dude, I love this question, first and foremost. This is fucking awesome.
That's
All right. I'm going to start out like this. The AR is now has gained traction, has continually grown, and now multiple companies at price points that I've picked have expressed interest in working either with making shoes for them or some sort of a AR addition to their product. Okay, that's already happening. So here's what I say. I'm going to start with this one. 2024, that price point has increased to $2,000 per job. Okay, and now some of them are the way that I've structured it is,
how long does it take you to do a job?
I'll say shoes. I work with a professional modeler right now to kind of provide a buffer for the knowledge that I don't know. And it takes about 3 weeks to go from a design to a finished model of a shoe.
Only got 52 weeks in a year.
Yep.
We're only getting 2,000 a job. We're only able to do 16 to 20 jobs a year there.
That's per modeler though.
Okay. So again, multiple modelers.
Multiple modelers.
Okay.
And the way that I've structured the business is hopefully you only have to make one model. You're not making a model every time. So you make the model once, they do new colorways, and then you do a drastically reduced cost to change the colorway. So if it's $2,000 per model, then it's $200 to change the colorway, right? So maybe they change the colorway each month. So instantly $2,000 turns into what's $4,200 a year per person. Okay. So then we're at, let's say, like, I don't know, 50 clients with different modelers all working. And I kind of just become the middleman for that side of things, right? I do almost nothing other than coordinate it. Okay. So that's one side. Let's say like $100,000 comes from that, theoretically, right? Now I'll also do NFTs of my own work, both one-of-ones and generative projects, which the one-of-ones, all of which will get royalties as well. So this is kind of, I guess, more of an answer for like 2025 because the royalties play a part in the plan. But the idea being that, you know, maybe you sell a collection of 100 one-of-ones, all different animations or designs for the shoes at $500 each, right? And then the royalties of that perpetuate. So as I'm doing other projects with NFTs that come up, then I'm still collecting royalties from the past as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the hope is with those two things in place on the digital side, both essentially collecting royalties and doing apparel. So like I want to do backpacks and physical shoes and clothing. I would hope on top of the art that I'm already creating with canvases and whatnot and gallery shows that and events that I'm already doing, then that would get us pretty close. You know, that's the goal. What about you, Dylan? Wait. I gotta intro this the same way Dylan did for us. This isn't fair. Dylan De Jesus Incorporated. De Jesus Custom Footwear LLC. Inc. Makes $1 million in 2024. How does he do it?
Big whole numbers. All right. So if we break this down, all right, our first 20%, 200K, we got 52 weeks in a year. All right. Can I sell 100 shoes at $2,000 each? Not easy, not out of the entire stratosphere of possibility either. Can I do 2 shoes a week? I sure can. Now, 200,000 in course sales at $2,000 in entry. That's 100 slots. 20 slots per course. That's 5 courses throughout the year, every other month. Doable. 200,000 in stencils, digital products, and merch. Doable.
How is that doable? What does that look like? Break it down for me. Stencils, merch.
Yeah. Okay. So merch isn't something that I've succeeded at in terms of merch is hard to make a lot of profit on, at least, just in terms of margins, things like that from experience. But stencils really have a lot to do with the growth of the YouTube page. And if that's popping, then we can get there. I can see it happening, along with some digital files, maybe some more PDF guides and things like that. We already have a photography guide. We have one free version, an extended version. The extended version sells well. And then that leaves us with 40% left, 400,000. Can I make that from social media, from YouTube ad revenue, TikTok, Instagram bonuses, Amazon affiliates crush it from YouTube.
Really?
Crush it. Sponsorships from paint companies, other things, and then just brand deals. That 400,000 would be the hard one to do, but that's how we would make $1 million in 2024.
Fuck yeah. Hey, whoever's listening right now, how are you making $1 million in 2024? They say, I love this question, bro, because they always say if you're trying to make 100K, try to figure out how you make $1 million. I feel like that's applicable to pretty much everybody listening right now that's trying to be an artist. So listen, if you're trying to make 50K to quit your job, aim for 500K, This is beautiful. All right, guys. Yeah, thank you for listening to this. This is a fucking awesome chat. Gentlemen, thank you for joining. This is beautiful. And we hope you got a lot of value from it. If you liked, please like the video, subscribe, comment, the whole 9 yards. Tell us your thoughts about the episode and what's not. So we'll talk to you guys next week. Thank you very much.
See you guys.
Bye.